fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Deluxe Class Gamer Edition Bumblebee from the Transformers Studio series from Hasbro. So this is from the War for Cybertron game. As you can see the logo right up here in the upper left. And that game came out, I think, about 13 years ago. I think it was like 2010. And there were figures back then, but now they're giving us updated ones as part of the Studio series. Really nice artwork of Bumblebee here on the front. And we have the plastic-free packaging, so you can see the little cutout here with Bumblebee inside. Looking over on this side, again, we have some nice artwork of Bumblebee. He is number 1 in the line, even though he is the last one I was able to get a hold of. Kind of did these in reverse order. Again, artwork of Bumblebee on this side. Have the little D-pad there. Not really much going on the bottom. Up here, we just have the War for Cybertron logo. Spinning it around to the back, we have some product shots of the robot mode and the vehicle mode. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm really excited for this one. I'm going to go ahead, get it out of the packaging here, and we'll take a closer look. Here is Bumblebee with the backdrop that is included in the box. I will move him out of the way temporarily so you can see. Looks like some kind of reactor or something, maybe a laboratory, something like that. Definitely a scene from the game. I just don't remember because it's been years, obviously, since I played that game. But still looks really great, and I think B fits really nicely inside. Here is Bumblebee out of the packaging. I think he looks pretty good. I really like all the paint applications. I love the color scheme. I think this kind of gold with the black and the red really works. Autobot symbol here on the chest looks good. Head sculpt looks fantastic. They did a really great job there. The blue eyes, the nice silver paint there for the face, all looks really, really sharp. I love these kind of like giant gauntlets he's got here on his forearms. And the wheels do spin in there because they're going to be wheels in vehicle mode. Down here you can see we have the wheels on the inside of the legs and this kind of mess over here. Now, a lot of people online have theorized, and I kind of agree, this looks like this should be the inside of the leg. And also, this ankle tilt works the wrong way. Now, you do utilize this for transformation, so maybe it's not supposed to be ankle tilt, but you can kind of use it as ankle tilt if it was facing the other direction. So what a lot of people have started doing is rotating him at the waist, which we just have to make sure we can actually clear this. I might have to pop this up. This guy has a lot of clearance issues, as you'll see, but it's not that big of a deal. So we'll pop that back in. Now, you are going to have the open part of the crotch facing forward instead of the nice, molded piece here. But then you can rotate him at the thigh swivels. And now the legs kind of look like, to me, what I think that they probably should have looked like all along. You have this nice clean piece on the outside. The ankle tilt works. So I definitely think that's the way he was supposed to be. You do need this, this is hollow for a reason when we're doing the transformation. There's a peg here on the back. You can kind of see it right there. And that has to pop in there when we're doing the transformation. So I'm assuming that's why they couldn't, it's just weird to me, the way they did it. The hollowness does serve a purpose. So that's why they couldn't mold both sides. But they definitely, it feels like this should have been on the outside. So I'm wondering if, they just decided they had to kind of sacrifice a little bit of aesthetic for functionality. But if you just don't mind this little bit of hollowness here in the front, I think this just looks a lot better. And honestly, because his belly is kind of so big, you don't notice it as much. So I think I'm definitely going to be displaying him like this, and I'll probably leave him like this for the rest of the review. And I can't take credit for this. A lot of people online have done this, so this is not my idea, but I do really like it. And I'm going to be probably doing this because then you get the ankle tilt, which I think is a big deal and really helps him stand. And just all in all, I just think the whole legs look a lot better. He's got a little bit of a backpack here, but it compresses pretty nicely. Let's go through articulation here. So the head can tilt pretty far up. Can't really tilt down at all. Spins side to side. Not really any side-to-side tilt there. You have kind of a little bit of a butterfly joint just because of the way it transforms. So there's a pin here where the shoulder kind of connects to the body, so you can use that as a butterfly joint. And then you have a ball joint here in the actual shoulder. Unfortunately, you can't put the arm to the side that well because the big shoulder pad here hits into the body, so you can really only go out about that far. But you can certainly go all the way around with really no issue. You do have a bicep swivel there, 90 degrees in the elbow. Nothing in the wrist because of the way it transforms. This whole piece is going to fold inward. You can see the pin right there, and we'll get into that in a moment. But because of that, nothing in the wrist. You get a little bit of movement here. Like I said, depending on how far you want to spin it, you might have to unhook the chest, but then you can pop it back in. But still, pretty good waist swivel there. Kicking out to the side decently. I mean, that starts to hit into the chest area there. But you can kick pretty far forward, kick pretty far back. Got a thigh swivel there. I would say at least 90 degrees there in the knee. And then, of course, if you have it utilized this way, you can get ankle tilt. Otherwise, you don't really have any ankle tilt. It tilts out the wrong way, which doesn't make any sense. Also, I want to shout out this section here on the front. Really nicely painted. I love that kind of like hexagon detailing molded in there. That looks great. The black here on the front, that all looks really sharp. Really, just the color scheme all around. I think going with this little bit of a kind of a deeper gold instead of a brighter yellow, I think was definitely the right decision because it just makes it look really sharp with the other colors. Yeah, all in all, I think the robot mode looks excellent. Let's do a little size comparison quick. Here is Optimus. So you can see he is definitely smaller than Optimus, probably about, not half the size, maybe 3/4 the size of Optimus. And then we will also bring in Barricade. So now we have all three of the Gamer Editions that have been released thus far. And you can really see the difference. These are both deluxes, but Barricade is definitely much taller than Bumblebee. It's kind of like a small, medium, large situation going on here. But they all look great together. Honestly, all three of these look really nice, really sharp. Paint applications are looking great. I really can't wait to see what else we get from this line. I know we have Megatron coming, and I think they're doing a repaint of Bumblebee into Cliffjumper. I think that's all that's been revealed so far. But, you know, I want them to keep going, do Jazz, do Sideswipe, whoever else was in that game. I can't remember. I do apologize. But, yeah, these look really good together so far. And, of course, Bumblebee does have some accessories. He actually comes with 3 accessories, which is kind of mind-blowing considering the other 2 only come with 1 each. I have to assume it's because he's kind of the same price point as Barricade, and Barricade is so much taller. That's why they only gave Barricade 1 accessory. And then to kind of keep, you know, the price the same and the fact that they're using less plastic, they gave us 3 accessories for Bumblebee. So we have this kind of short cannon here, which looks pretty cool. And just with all the others, we're going to go ahead and just pop the arm off here for Bumblebee, and we'll put that off to the side. And then we will hook up our first cannon here. So definitely a shorter cannon, but it's, you know, pretty massive. I would assume it packs quite a wallop. That's looking pretty good. He does come with kind of a more standard gun here, which we can go ahead and peg on as well. And I kind of like the look of this one a little bit better. And of course they all have connection spots here for the blast effects, which is really cool. And then the last accessory he has, pop the hand back on here, is actually a sword, which looks really nice. No paint, but it has a lot of nice molded in detail. And that just pops into his hand pretty easily. So I really like all 3 of these accessories. I think that's really cool. And just like with the others before him, if you want to utilize the weapons from the others, this is Barricade's blaster. You can pop that on here. And that looks pretty good. Definitely not the same kind of gunmetal gray color. This is more black. But that works. It is a little loose on him, though, I will say. It fits and it works. And it's not going to fall off. But it is a little bit looser. And then here is Prime's massive cannon, which I might have some difficulty attaching because of the giant stock that this thing has. But let's see if we can get this on there. There we go. So you can give Bumblebee this mega cannon, which I actually think looks pretty cool on him. I like that quite a bit. So I like the fact that you can switch these around and they're all cross-compatible. I think that's really fun, and I like that quite a bit. And honestly, I just really like the sword as well. I think that looks really cool. So I'm going to move all of these accessories off to the side. And let's go ahead, let's get into transformation. All right, so I've gone ahead and removed all of the accessories. We're going to start off by taking the wrists, and you can kind of see how there's like a little difference in paint from this section here to there. That lets you know that that's where this is going to split, and then this is just going to fold forward like that. And then this wheel section here, you'll push it past and kind of feel like it passes like a little nub, and then it'll come around and kind of naturally click into place. There's like a second little nub for, like, I guess it's on a track, and then it kind of sits in the two spots. So you're going to come back over here, flip this in, then rotate this around. It'll spin, and then kind of naturally stop in place there, something like that. We're going to take these shoulder pads and push them up, like so. Then we are going to detach his chest section here and lift this up, but you kind of have to be a little careful because these pieces here are kind of tucked in for the robot mode, and they do have to kind of come out. So you kind of have to move them out a little bit to get the clearance for this to lift up. So you're constantly kind of moving these in and out for clearance while we're transforming him, but it'll be all right. We'll get there. So then we're going to kind of lift this back and just kind of leave it about there for now. We are going to kind of pop these out again, but before we do that, we are going to rotate this section back on that kind of butterfly. Well, now I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's do this first. There's a little tab here. This is actually going to flip, and again, you might have to push these out a little bit to get clearance. Push that past, and then you'll kind of want to tuck them back in. But then you can bring this like this, and this will kind of clip into place. Now, the thing that's weird about it, this dark gray piece has kind of a hard edge. So as you kind of pop this up, that will kind of make this pop up and stay into place. So it's kind of like two pieces like this, and then they kind of pop, and they're like that. So you just have to be a little careful with that, but that should keep that in place there. Then we can go ahead and rotate this back, and you can see that that shoulder pad is going to kind of fit into that space, and then we can go ahead and pop this section out and leave it there. So this is going to come in, or just completely pop off the ball joint. If it does that, it's easy enough. Well, if everything will just stay in place long enough for me to do it, it's easy enough to pop this back on. As I say that, and it's really giving me the business here. There we go. Okay, now we're going to bring this in and pop this out. And this should... And it's a lot of clearance stuff. Like, nothing's a problem. It's just kind of making sure everything can get past this, and, you know, there's just some clearance things. Nothing's a problem. You just have to be a little careful with it. Now we are going to rotate this at the bicep, and then this is going to come up and fit in here. It's a little weird getting it in here, because again, it's just kind of like fitting this in and making sure that the spot gets where it's supposed to be. There we go. But that's what it'll look like. You can kind of see how there's like a little notch here on this piece that kind of fits in there. So again, rotate this, and then this should come up and kind of drop in here like that. And there you go. There is the front of the vehicle mode. Now we are going to... Now, if you had this like I had it, where you've already turned the waist around, then all you want to do is put these back. So that is something you have to be wary of. So it used to be like this, so you kind of have to return it to its original configuration like this, and then you want to spin it around. So if you've already had this area spun around, then you would just need to spin these at the thigh like this. This has to come up, so there is, as you can kind of see, this open area in this kind of dark gray piece, and there's this tiny little like two yellow tabs on this piece in the back right here where my finger is, and this has to kind of go up and fit into that, and it can be a little difficult. It's not too bad, but you might have to kind of lift this up. I think that's in there. No, it's not quite in there. What did I do? What did I do? There we go. This is all starting to flip out on me. So that should be up in there now. So that way you can get this kind of as close up here as you possibly can. And then you can kind of bring the legs down like that. I don't know why this piece is popping out, but that should be fine. Okay, so now we're going to use this hinge here. This is going to pop around. At the same time, this is going to flip around like this. So you can see that there are two tabs here, and there's kind of a tab here. This one here is going to go into this little spot right there. And then these two on the top are going to tab in right there and there. So this will come around, kind of naturally glide into there, and then tab that all together like that. And that makes the side of the car. So we'll do the same thing over here. Pop this, and then pop this up. And you might have to lift the legs up a little bit as you do that, but you'll find where this is supposed to go as it kind of naturally finds its peg-in spots. There we go. So that's good. So this is something that I'm not 100% sure of, but these little toe pieces I think are switched on mine. It's very hard to see. I don't think the camera's going to pick that up at all, but I'm pretty sure on the inside here there's a little R1 and an L1, and I believe they're on the wrong foot. So they have switched the feet on mine. It's luckily not a huge problem, but when you go ahead, you'll take this piece, and this rotates past that like that. This piece here just flips up under here, and then you have to rotate the toe in like this, and it gets a little tight. So if you see on mine, there's a little stress mark, like I have to push this in, and you can see how there's stress right there. And I think it's just because this section is just ever so slightly thicker than this section. And it's not a problem. I don't think it's going to be an issue. It might wear a little bit over time, but I can still do the full transformation. So we'll tuck this in, flip this piece back like this. And for whatever reason, I have no trouble with this one. This one's fine. So maybe I have two of the same one. I'm not sure. But this one's fine. This one just looks like it's a little thicker or something. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. And then the last step is just to drop this down. You can see that there's a tab here and here, and they're going to tab in right there and there. And there you go. We have Bumblebee in his vehicle mode. There we go. Why is he not staying in? Peg in, Bumblebee. There we go. There he is in his vehicle mode. I like this a lot. I mean, this definitely has like a really cool alien feel to it. And he compacts really, really nicely. I think they did a good job here. Now, I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking that this section here is supposed to be a back window. And I feel like that should be painted black like everything else. So I'm wondering if that's a paint application that they had to leave off, which is kind of a bummer. But at least it's on the back. Because from the front, I think this guy looks really, really cool. I mean, it is such a fun little design. Such an odd little shape. I really like it a lot. You do have some weapon storage as well. You can take this gun, and this will peg in right here underneath. So we can pop that in there to store one of the weapons. The big cannon we can pop on. You can see there's a little spot right there. And so, where is it? That little tab right there. Can pop on right there. And then you can take the sword and peg that on here as like a license plate. I forgot to mention this, but because this is his back in robot mode, you can store the weapons on here on the back. So if you wanted to kind of put this on here, whichever weapon you're not using, you can store the other two here on the back, which is pretty cool. So I do appreciate that. I did forget to mention that in robot mode, but luckily you can see it here in the vehicle mode as well. But yeah, this is really cool. I like this a lot. It's really, really fun. And I feel like the transformation is a little bit easier than the original 2010 one was, because I remember that being really annoying to go back and forth. This one has a few little clearance things, but it's really not too bad, and it's just so fully compact when you're done. I just think that's so cool. So let's zoom out here a little bit so we can bring in Optimus Prime in vehicle mode. You can really see the difference here in terms of, you know, one being much bigger than the other. I think they scale pretty well together. I think that's pretty cool. And then we'll bring in Barricade as well. So again, we have a small, medium, large situation going on here. Although I will say these two are actually pretty similar, at least in length. He's obviously taller. And then I would say this is almost half. Let's put these like this. But either way, they all look really cool together. I'm enjoying these Cybertronian modes. I'm having a lot of fun with this line so far, and I think all three of these look really great in vehicle mode. I actually like this guy a lot more than I thought I was going to. When I think back to that 2010 version of this character, I remember it being super clunky. I kind of feel like Optimus was the same way. They were kind of difficult to transform. There were like a lot of little panels and moving parts, and I just remember it being more trouble than it was worth to transform them back and forth. This guy's really not too bad. There are a little bit of clearance issues, usually with these pieces here on the sides of his chest that go in and out, and you just kind of have to make sure when you're doing things that you have the clearance you need. But it's really not too bad. And once you do it once or twice, you definitely get the hang of it. I absolutely love the color scheme. I think going with a little bit deeper gold instead of a brighter yellow was an excellent choice because it goes really well with the black and the red, and it's just a really sharp color scheme. Head sculpt looks amazing. All the paint applications are really sharp. I love the Autobot symbol here on the chest. I love that he comes with 3 accessories. He is a little bit smaller of a deluxe in terms of being compared to Barricade, but they did make up for it by giving him some extra accessories. I think that's really cool. The whole thing with the legs is a little weird, and if you want to do the official transformation, you absolutely can. And I know it makes the thighs here a little hollow, but I definitely like the look of this on the outside. Plus, it lets you utilize the ankle tilt, so I definitely think that's the way I'm going to go. Yes, it's a bit of a bummer that, you know, that's a little hollow there, but honestly, you hardly even notice it because of how big his belly is, and I'm definitely going to be keeping him like this. I just like that better. I guess just to note, if you are showing the robot mode like this, displaying it this way, you never actually have to swivel the waist around during transformation. You just have to turn the thighs around. So that's just a little difference in the transformation instructions. But yeah, I think it looks much better like this. So thank you to all the people online that were showing that off, because I definitely am going to be displaying him like that. But yeah, he's fun. I like him a lot. I'm enjoying this line a lot. I really hope that it continues. Also, the other thing that I thought was weird, like I said, I don't know what's going on with my toes, but this one is having a little bit of stress. I think maybe that they swapped them, and it does seem like we're getting some production errors with these, because at least mine luckily have not been that big of a deal. But like, if these toes are switched, Barricade had the one bicep that was ridiculously tight. My Optimus, knock on wood, appears to be okay, but I've had friends who had difficulty with that gray bar in the chest not being able to rotate. So I don't know what's going on. They're nice figures when you can get one that works, but just to be a little careful, there have been a lot of production errors with this line so far. Hope that stops, and really excited to see what's coming down the pike. I think the Megatron is going to be really great, and I'm really excited for that. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.